Up
No,
here in a
you
minute.
won't hear
Yeah,
it.
there it goes. Welcome everyone to the Roughneck to Real Estate podcast. We've got the lovely Kristen Gerst with us today, and our fearless leader, the motherfucker of mobile homes, Corey Thompson. Here's our theme song, and then we're gonna jump right into it. He's the
We don't get
motherfucker
to hear the theme song. We just
of
get to watch
mobile
that.
homes. He's the
Really? That's hysterical.
motherfucker
Is there a song going on
of
right now?
mobile
How do I have to join this group to
homes.
get the podcast?
The best in Texas in every
It's
single
the pitch.
The
way.
fan page.
Fire
It'll
your
happen.
guru.
I'll have a little.
Hire up
We're
next
live
to
now.
real
There
estate.
it is.
He's the motherfucker of mobile homes. He's
There
the
we go.
motherfucker
Share.
of mobile homes.
Some of those songs I'm doing some cheering.
Oh yeah,
Right?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah. So we've already had an interesting conversation this morning about brothels and all kinds of stuff. Kristen's really been in some rugged areas. She's a true real estate entrepreneur. So these guys are going to
You
take it
know,
away. These guys are going to take it away and listen up, y'all.
most people don't know this about me, but when I got started, I loved a cheap house. And the first thing I ever bought was an 8-unit apartment building about 2 blocks from the intersection of Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. So that was the roughest thing I ever bought. But yeah, we were just talking about the brothel that I bought because he goes, "Oh yeah, we just found a heroin needle." I'm like, "Dude, that's nothing." I'm like, "We found bags of drugs all over the place." And it was like a transvestite boarding house, and it was originally a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath, 2-story house, and they took it to a 10-room boarding house that had locks, like for padlocks on the outside of the door. It was great. Scary as
Well,
crap, but great.
look, I just pulled up to our mobile home park in Fort Worth. We took this thing over April-ish, and we've been pulling the old 70 models trailers out and putting new ones in. And we've got one coming in today. Hopefully, I've heard that every day for 3 weeks now. But long story short, this fucking crazy lady over here, we put in new homes, and this bitch, she took it like didn't pay no rent, like moved in, made it through all of our background checks, and then was like wanting to drive rent, wanting to know where our office was so she could drive rent to us. And we're like, no, you got to pay online. Then we pay the water bill here. Last month we get a $4,000 water bill because we're in the eviction process. It takes forever out here in Fort Worth. You're just waiting to get on the docket the whole time, and we get a water bill. It's $4,000. She took her hose off of the washing machine, shoved it into the drain in the washing machine, turned it on wide open, and just let it run. I'm talking like if I don't know, man. We had plumbers underneath the house. I was gonna cut all the lines everywhere, but she still had one day left to appeal. So we were like, nah, we're gonna wait. And then she didn't appeal, even though she was threatening to appeal. So what we didn't want to do, but if she would have appealed, we would have cut all the water lines underneath the house and left her with no water. The water would have been on, but she would have had no water, and we'd have just been like, "Fuck it, somebody do something to us."
Do
Because
you what's the recourse you have for a $4,000 water bill?
I don't know. I reached out to people on Facebook. I've never had that happen, but I've like it. So what we're gonna do now for this park is we're gonna get an independent company to come out and put in sub meters, and we're gonna bill the water back to them because you can't take a $4,000 hit where your water bill is normally $1,000.
Yeah.
You put a $4,000 water bill on your books and you go get an appraisal, they're gonna look and they're gonna take that average. I mean, she probably affected the value of the property by maybe 40, 50, $60,000
Yeah.
just by running that water like that. So, and we're about to refi this onto a bank loan. Now, I don't think it'll affect us because we have a lot of equity. One of the good things about pulling up here this morning was the property right across the street. We're inside the 820 loop. We're right here on Hazel Avenue, and the property across the street they built apartments, and they built apartments down for us. And now directly across the street, this place just sold, and they're clearing the trees. So I don't know if it's going to be a Walmart. I don't know if it's going to be another apartment complex. I have no idea what's going up across the street, but I cannot wait.
Industrial waste, facility.
Oh no, I hope not. There's a school right next to it, so we're like right across from the school. We bought this place for $330,000, and that included a $40,000 assignment to a wholesaler. So we're really excited about it. We've put probably maybe 200,000 into it. Maybe, I don't think we've put that much.
How long have you been working on the project?
We bought it in April, but we didn't start working on it till several months later. We were kind of, we didn't know if we were going to remodel the houses that were here or if we were going to move new ones in. The city was really acceptant to us moving new ones in, so we just moved a whole bunch of new ones in. Not new, they're 2000 models or better, but one of them we paid $6,000 for, and we've got it rented for $1,000 a month. So
that's pretty amazing. That's great. That's awesome.
Like that's it's like, okay, there's some equity here. This property will probably appraise for 1.4 million when we're done with it because of the cash flow that it'll create.
How many houses are on it?
So it's got 15 units, but there's a duplex, a regular house, and then a bunch of mobile homes. Some of them are really old, and then there's like one that's about the size of an RV up here up front. The cool thing about the Texas legislator is they passed a law last session, not this September, but the September before, that basically if we want to shit can every house here, we are protected that we can put in the same dimension house. So what sucks is some of these are 12 wides. So the city could say, okay, they can't block me from putting one in no matter what the setbacks or easements are in today's world. Like if I've got one setting out in the fucking alleyway or whatever, I can still move one in that exact spot, but they can hold me to make it the same dimension. That made me worried because there's one up here. I mean, I don't even know. Like it might be 20 feet long. It looks like an RV wrapped in vinyl siding. I don't know what's going on in there, but the dude's lived there since 2002. So we're just gonna let him rock on. He's got a brand new Dodge.
Just let him. I know. I mean,
just letting him ride.
If he's paying. I mean, it's not broke. Don't fix it.
No. Absolutely.
So, what kind of interest rate are you getting on something like that? It's got to be kind of high.
No, it's 6.25, 6.5.
That's not bad.
Here I am.
That's not bad at all.
No, like the cool thing about it is once you find a bank to roll with you that will finance you, it's kind of, they're asset-based lenders. They want to look at the underlying asset, but it has more to do with your track record when you're dealing with a small bank. You know that. I mean, you work.
Yeah, no, I do. But you still have to find the right bank. I mean, I buy mortgage notes, and there are not very many banks who even understand that or want to deal with that. It's easy to get like a first lien deed of trust against a piece of real property. But what I do is I give an assignment of collateral, and they hear, even bankers hear that and they're like, I'm not sure how that one's going to work.
So you leverage against your deeds of trust. Like, so you go out with your money, you buy, and then you leverage against them because, this is something we learned early on whenever we went to the bank for a loan and they're like, what collateral do you got? And we put up all of our houses and we had one note at the time. And they're like, what about that note? You all want to throw it in there? And we're like, we can do that.
Sure.
They're like, oh yeah, absolutely. So we threw it in there too. And I don't, if we went back and analyzed that deal, we probably gave them a lot of collateral for a little bit of money. You know what I mean? But at the time,
you're like, oh, we need it, and it'll be great. But still, when you go back and look at your numbers, this is why I love using other people's money. Your returns become infinite. So once you have, once you've created something, and the only money you have into that deal is other people's money, and you are just making money off the top, your returns become infinite. People are always like, what's my return on investment? I'm like, I shoot for that 5,000% or, infinity sign. So.
Yeah. Oh no, we're the same way. We bought a mobile home park. I don't even know if I want to talk about it, but anyways, we're pulling $350,000 in equity out. The loan closes next week. That's why I don't want to talk about it until
it's done.
Until
it's done, and you're not, crying.
Right. But we're gonna
crying in your Nat Light or whatever the hell you drink over there at the trailer park.
Yeah, we when we make that equity pool, we're gonna take that money and put it directly into an apartment complex that we just bought in Coleman. That we bought a 32-unit apartment complex for $280,000.
Where is Coleman? Before I get on and Google that.
South of Abilene.
Okay. So how big is Coleman? Is it big?
4,500 people.
Wow. So what's the occupancy rate of that thing?
It was there was 3-4 people living in there in 32 units. But all the copper and all the plumbing was there. It's like all the ACs were there.
That's nice.
I mean,
Better than I can say for that's better than I can say for South or East Dallas.
Dude, we're looking at about a $300,000 rehab. That's new roofs and everything.
Yeah.
And this thing's gross rents will be $19,000 a month. We'll pay the water bill. I mean, it's probably gonna be a $1.3 million asset when it all is said and done at a 10 or 11 cap. And the thing that people don't get about that is you can't go to Coleman, Texas right now, break ground, buy land, break ground, hire contractors, and build $600 a month rent. You can't.
No. And you can't do that most places. The only way you could do that is by rehabbing. And I mean, I'm rehabbing older condos right now. So I know, but hell, I mean, I'm shocked at how high rehab costs have gotten. I'm waiting for a little bit of a market reset here in about 6 to 12 months. So I'd like to.
People get nervous whenever I tell them that we're going into a town with 4,500 people. They're like, "What's the job center? What's this? What's that?" And I'm like, "Here's the deal: the county courthouse is there. Okay, the town is energized and ready to make moves. They're ready. They got a winery going in. There's all those little things, right? But here's the big thing: if you get assigned to work in Coleman right now, they say, Kristen, you got to go to Coleman and you got to work. Are you buying a house?
Me personally?
Yeah. Are you buying a house in Coleman, Texas? Like, are you going, I'm going to live here for the rest of my life?
No. But even if I don't live there for the rest of my, I'll probably go buy a house anyways. But I buy houses. So I buy houses. I'm the wrong person to ask that question to. And I mean, who are you sending to Coleman, Texas? I mean, 4,500 people. How close is the next town?
Abilene's an hour away. Brownwood's 30 minutes away. Brownwood's about 20,000 people.
Wow.
And then Abilene's, I guess 100,000 or so. I don't really know. I have a good. But the thing about any small town, because I grew up in a small town, like you can't replicate good property management. Everybody's a slumlord. Everybody's a slumlord. People still need a place to live, and our exposure is 32 people. So what are the chances that the town of Coleman, you can't build another apartment complex to compete with me because you can't get my rent as low. You can't come in and start remodeling houses and compete with me other than you got a backyard and a little bit more space. So if I'm sitting here and I'm looking at it and I know that I'm a nurse or I'm a fireman or I'm whatever and I move there to work, I know I'm going to live in an apartment complex for 2 to 3 years while I feel this out and figure out what Coleman is and if I want to be there. Because there's a waiting list in our hometown at every apartment complex there is.
In your hometown, your personal hometown.
Yes, where there's 4,500
Where are you
people.
from?
Groesbeck, Texas.
Oh, Groesbeck. I think I remember that. Sorry, that was an inside joke from happy hour.
It's the same model that you got with owner finance. You can't replicate, like if you're going to go out and sell houses in anywhere in the world, like whether it's Dallas, Fort Worth, or whatever, you're going to have way more qualified buyers for owner finance than you are for a conventional mortgage. Okay, the regulations are too tight. It's the same way in small towns. It's the same way everywhere. You've got that advantage because you've got more buyers in the market. In a small town, I've got way more renters than buyers because people like you don't come out there and do owner finance. You know what I mean? If I said, hey, we in this package when we bought this house, we bought 36 houses with this apartment complex. You know what we paid for the houses? All of them? $197,000.
For all 36?
All 36. We're going to pay for them.
Yeah. I mean, that's amazing. So, but how beat up are those houses?
They're a little bit beat up, but 5 of them are rented, and I only have to owner finance them for what, $14,000 to double my money.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same principle you got. I got other people's money buying it. Yeah. They will let me wrap that mortgage. I don't have to take a down payment because they can go in and put their sweat equity into it. I can just qualify and make sure they got the money to go fix it, and I can get back a better asset if it ever goes south on me. Plus,
that's debatable. That is debatable.
I've got 5.
Doesn't always work that way.
Well, I just when I'm underwriting it, I'm going, dude. If I can't owner finance a house for $15,000, I don't need to be in this business. You know what I mean? Like,
no, anybody can owner finance a house for $15,000. Is that what you're doing?
That's what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna do. We're owner financing the top half of them for anywhere from 30 to 60, and the bottom half we're gonna give like certain people, certain houses when they buy one, we're gonna give them two. We're gonna be like, hey, you get this one too, just to get the mowing and the taxes off of us.
Right.
So we're and you know we're targeting the
Yeah. How bad are the liens on these things? Are there mowing and tax liens on these things?
Nope, none, because they
None.
don't have code enforcement.
Nope. Oh, really?
We bought them. We bought them with title insurance. Everything's clear. Everything's ready to go. So we're gonna donate a portion. We're gonna underfinance a portion, and we're gonna burn down a couple with the city. We've already got them lined up to do that. So they're gonna run some drills on them. So we're gonna do some marketing out of it.
You're gonna burn some of them down?
Yeah, the city wants to run drills on them with their fire department.
Really? So they're gonna pay you?
No. We got equity there. We're just gonna donate them to the city, get the tax write-off, and let them burn them down. And we're gonna do the videos. We're gonna have all the cameras. We're gonna do it, and use it for marketing.
Yeah. No, that's pretty awesome.
That's fun. This is the shit that I don't know. Like I feel like people like years ago when I would talk about doing something or whatever, they'd be like, "There's no way this motherfucker's gonna do that." And then slowly but surely, it was like, "Holy shit, they are straight up buying mobile home parks." You know what I mean? They are like, it's crazy the things that whenever we were projecting forward and looking at where we could make money, you know, we weren't gonna let this deal in Coleman pass us by. We had to figure out something to do with the houses to be able to buy the apartment complex. We end up with $700,000-800,000 worth of equity on our books in the apartment complex and be able to access some of it to do the next deal. So why not take on these houses and figure something else with them? So it's like, what all can we do with them? We can burn them, we can give them away to churches and stuff and get the tax benefits, and we can owner finance a majority of them and get our note covered. So we have the skill set to do it. Let's go do it. Let's go light some shit on fire. Let's do some marketing. So one of the things we're doing.
Shit on fire.
We're one of the things we're doing. We've hired Pat Hilton and Travion to do a documentary. That's why I got this little deal on right here. So I've got a bunch of cameras. And we're gonna kind of film this whole process, start to finish. And the city is gonna give us about $300,000 as a hard money loan, kind of.
Yeah.
To do the remodel. So
that is awesome.
We're in this.
And I'm assuming that's at a really good rate. It should be.
Right. Well, we offered them 12% because we don't care. You know what I mean?
12%. You got it for 12%.
We offered it to them. We're like, hey, we went before the committee last week. I need to post that video in the Roughneck Real Estate group of me talking to the committee because I'm sitting there talking about crystal methane and stuff with all these city people in Coleman, and I think people think this stuff is difficult. You know what I mean? It's not difficult. Just go up there and tell them.
Well, it's not difficult, but what's the travel time between Dallas and Coleman?
3 hours maybe.
3 hours. I mean, that's the major issue. I mean, that would be like just logistics wise for me. I mean, how far from Dallas do you live? Because I see you all the time. So
2 hours.
So you're 2 hours. So you just come into Dallas all the time. So it's an hour for you from wherever this is at.
Well, it's 2.5 hours. It's 2.5 hours because it's west. But I drive the whole state. We have a mobile home park in Amarillo. We have a mobile home park in Harlingen, which is down by South Padre Island. We have one in Pecos. I'm on my iPhone. We manage all of it with an iPhone app. We have a staff of 4 people in the office that manage it, that run the whole deal. Remote managing just blew our business up. It's why I went from sub 2, with Scott Horn and all of that. I was like, man, scaling this is really difficult for me. Because
I used to do sub 2 with Scott. Like we had like 3 companies together, and man, I hated that stuff. I did. It was like you're not in control. You're picking up these properties, wrapping them. The buyers or the sellers that you bought the stuff from, and you're wrapping their loans are pissed all the time. I freaking, and you can't, especially once the market started getting better, then these sub 2s are drying up, and it's like you can't scale this to any realistic amount. So.
Well, what you end up with is a bunch of money parked in them. That's the part that I didn't like.
You get what? You get a lot of
with money parked in them. Just a little bit of money parked in every one.
Well, that's why that's why I started Capricorn, so I would buy that stuff. And I mean,
right.
literally created it because I'm like, I hate these sub twos. I hate anything with an underlying lien on it. I want to figure out a way to sell this stuff. Um, and how do I do it and scale this business, so that it's $1 million business every year. Um, and, I take a very small chunk, but, when you're buying, I can, people can afford to sell me their wraps to get rid of an awful sub two property and make a little bit of money if I'm going to pay somewhere like 90 or 92%. So,
well, we got one in Cleveland we want you to look at. We just don't know we don't know the process. It's appreciated through the roof. We don't
yeah.
have any money.
Oh my God, totally send that to me. So, I'll look at it. I'm going to give you the best deal. I know you guys.
Well, I know that, but we just want to get rid of it because it's a really good. The buyer pays. He's out of New York. He pays every month, and it's something that I think we'll pick up about 10,000. But it's we don't have any money in it, so it's like, and then it frees us up from having a service because it's only paying us about $80 a month right now. Does that make sense?
And that's the crazy thing. You're getting only $80 a month. You might have 5-10 grand sitting there, but it's more of a headache of just dealing with
it ain't
the underlying lien and then making sure that the escrows are paid. And then all of a sudden, you miss a couple months of like the escrows or something, or you didn't get the statement. And then now you're making a payment for, to catch it up. It is, I just hate that stuff.
You got it on auto draft and the bank drafts 2 fucking payments. And you're
right.
like, what the fuck just happened?
Right.
And you can't call them and bitch at them because you're not fucking Susie.
Because you're not on that mortgage. Yeah, you have no. And I've called, because I'll have like their personal information. And I'll be like, no, I'm Mrs. So and so, and this is my social security number and birthday. But hey, Jesus, to have to go through that every time, I'm like, I just don't want to deal with that stuff anymore. So I tell everybody, sell your wraps, and have notes that are debt free. If you have notes that are sitting there with no debt on them, that's the way to live, especially going into this next year, because we're going to hit a downturn. And when I hit the downturn, a decade ago in 2008, oh my gosh, my balance sheet was so debt heavy, like my personal credit debt sheet, because I had 61 doors, all rented Section 8. So I was fine there. But the amount of personal loans in my own credit that were on my credit report. And after 2008, all of those regulations changed. And so you look at my credit report and I was toxic. They're like, you need to pay off some of these mortgages or you're never going to get another loan ever. So,
did you get any notes called during the downturn? Because that's like,
not a single one.
That's the big boogeyman that everybody keeps talking about. They're like, man, y'all aren't worried about your notes getting called? What about in 5 years when it comes time to re-am or whatever? I'm like,
oh, hell no. So people are really freaked out about that. In the course of the last decade, I don't even know how many I originated. Hundreds, because I was doing it for myself. I was doing it for lots of other investors. Started JVing with people, teaching them how to do it, yada, yada, yada. A ton. I have never personally had a note called. I have only known of one, and that was because the seller who had his note wrapped went into Wells Fargo and insisted that they give him a payoff letter because he had sold the house and he wanted it removed. And so they ended up saving that deal. But when you're, for me, I can tell you they don't care. Bank of America called me up one time and I had wrapped it maybe 2 years earlier. And they said, hi, this is so-and-so from Bank of America. I'm calling you in regards to this loan. And I'm like, okay, here we go. It's the first one. And I just explained to him what I did. And the guy goes, well, we've got a new investor. And so we noticed that you no longer own this house. Are you going to keep making the payment? And I said, yeah, I'm going to keep making the payments just as I've always done. They were like, thank you. That's all we needed to know. Hung up. Last I ever heard from them about it.
Well, we've got 2 sellers right now in our sub 2 portfolio. They reemerge every 3 or 4 months to follow up and find out when are you going to
refinance? When's your buyer going to refinance? Yeah. And it just doesn't happen.
They don't even ask that. one of them's so dumb. She just asked for her house back. She's like, "Can I get my house back?" I'm like, "Yeah, no, that's all."
I had one sub two guy, and this was with Scott, and this one drove me nuts. This guy hired a realtor, signed a listing agreement, and stuck a for sale sign in the front of like this buyer's house. And all of a sudden we're getting calls from from the homeowner, who we owner financed it to, and she's like, somebody just put a for sale sign in my house. I'm like, give me the number, and I had to call this realtor and go, hey, you might want to check out ownership records on this because the guy who hired you doesn't own that house. I really think that this is maybe violating your license agreement with the state. You get in pretty big trouble. I mean, she had that sign out of there within a few minutes, but the fact is that house went on MLS. It got listed on MLS.
That's crazy. That's the
But
kind of
that's
stuff.
the shit that
at least to
happens.
me.
The stuff that happens with these sub twos, because they're just like, oh, I want my house back. It's worth now, it's worth $100,000 more than what I sold it for, and it's still on my credit, so I own it. And I'm like, no, you don't. Warranty deed will show who owns it. A deed of trust will show who owes money on it. So
This is oh yeah. Like it was pretty quick after. I mean, I still take down sub twos. I mean, if it's got a lot of equity there, and I know I can sell it to somebody like you down the road, or I can put it in as a rental because it's there in my local market and I can get to it and touch it, and I'll do it. It's not a bad strategy. What I don't like now is giving up control of it. With any sort of expectations of that mortgage ever doing anything other than being paid off. Now, before, whenever I would go in and explain to my seller, I'd be like, hey, look, we're going to build your credit back up. Nobody owns a house more than 5 years. They're going to sell it or refinance. They don't want to be in that interest rate. I don't even talk about that no more. I'm like, look, here's the deal. You owe 26 fucking years. We're married to this for 26 years. If you want it back down the road, when we foreclose on it from the end buyer, we will hand it back over to you. So we got a guy that's upset about he wants that house. He lives in Colorado now. The house is in Killeen, and we're taking the house back. We get it back in December, and I'm just gonna be like, all right, bro, here's the fucking keys. You know what I mean? Like, take it back. And we've got $16,000 tied up in that house so far. So it's just a $16,000 write-off for us. Hold on, the constable's here. I'm doing a podcast. How's it going? Oh, a podcast. Yes, sir. With my little camera on. We got the first constable appearance on the Roughneck Real Estate podcast. The guy with the locksmith's supposed to be here at 10. So. Yeah, I told him I was gonna check a few windows and see. Okay. And we've got a hammer. We can knock the door. I mean, I bought a new doorknob, so we can knock the. We'll just however you guys want to do it. I don't care, but we'll check a window first. Okay, well, that's fine. Okay. I gotta get DJ over here. We got the constable running around. This constable is so badass. We had to evict all the crackheads out of this park, right? So, like, this dude jumped through a fucking window for us. Like, he just goes over there, pries the window open, and bails through the window and comes through the front door. I'm like, bro.
The constable does?
I went through the window on the back. So let me go get DJ right quick. But on these mortgages, whenever I'm doing a sub 2 now, it's just straight up me and you.
You know what? I love the fact that you are straight up and you just tell them that, because that was, when I started doing those, Scott Hart's like, okay, yeah, there are so many things that could happen here. They will probably refinance in the next, 12 months once we get their credit up. That does not happen. It just doesn't happen. And I hate hearing people sell people that line, and people are still saying it. And I'm like, do you know how many people I've seen refinance? Like 3. So, it's a low number. How many have paid it off? I've had one guy pay off a loan, like work extra hard and pay it off. But as I tell people, I'm another exit strategy. So when you're talking to, subject twos, it makes it a lot easier to pick them up going, all right, this is what I do. I'm going to get your house. I'm going to fix it up a little bit. I'm going to put somebody into it. After they make 6 on-time payments, I've got a chick who buys it, and then your loan is paid off, and we go down the road.
Yes, and I've told him about that option. I got old DJ coming up. He done worked up a lathered sweat. Get him in on camera. I'm talking to my new girlfriend. What's up? Oh. Yeah, you need to go over there to the constable. He's got some questions for you. He's at Unit 8. Okay. Is that your new girlfriend? Yeah, that's my new girlfriend.
Hi.
Hello. We're like Pat Hilton. You're on a podcast. Pat, what do you think about this podcast? These podcasts in the field might be the way to go from now on.
Man, I'll tell you what. This is by far the realest podcast on the internet. By far the realest.
How are you?
It means getting
I'm good.
over there to that
I'm good. It sounds great. It's good info too.
He just came over like that neighbor from Tim the Toolman Taylor.
Yeah, from Full House, right? Yeah.
Like
you can only barely see him over the fence.
I know.
I want to make DJ a big part of the podcast where he comes on and we're like, all right, Kristen, teach DJ something. He's got a full semester left of high school. Let's see if you can get him. If you can teach DJ something about real estate, you're a really good teacher. Because did you imagine what, like, I remember when I was
Wait a minute. If I could teach him something about real estate, I'm a really good teacher because the boy can't learn?
No, it's not that. It's not that. I remember when I started selling cars, I was 17, and the sales manager asked me, he said, well, how much equity did they have in the car? And I was like, yeah, definitely. You know what I mean? Had no idea what that word meant. No idea. And we didn't have Google, so we couldn't figure it out. You know what I mean? It's just like, I don't know what that word means. I don't know what he just asked me. I have no idea what's going on here. You know what I mean? And that's like at 18, you know everything, but you really, like, the constable's already jumped through the window. Like, I'm going to flip this fucking camera around. Look, we got on the Roughneck Real Estate Podcast. I'm just going to turn it around. Look, there's old DJ. He's looking through the window. The constable's done jumped through. There he is. He's ready to go.
How long did it take you? What was the whole turnaround time to, like, foreclose off of that mobile home?
For what? To get this eviction done?
Yeah.
The evictions in Fort Worth take a little longer. It takes you'll lose 2 months rent. If somebody the rent's due on the 5th, on the 6th they're getting evicted. The process has started, and we don't stop it until they pay. And we hit them with all their late fees, the $10 a day, everything. Now a lot of people catch up, but we don't stop the eviction process until they catch up. I've had really good luck on getting these turned around. Normally after we run them through a background check and stuff like that, we don't have the issues that we have. Okay. You crawled through the window? That's what I was just telling everybody. What's it look like in there, DJ? All in this room. Okay. Well. Okay. Go get your black bags and bring them over here and start bagging up that trash. There's some more help coming to help you load the rest of that stuff. But once you get that trash out, this man can go be with his family. I'm good. You're good? I don't even have to be here for this. Okay, cool. I'm just going to hang out for a minute. Appreciate it. I'll take off. Sweet. I appreciate you doing that. Was the water running on the washing machine still? Go check the water on the washing machine. This lady put a hose, took the water off the washing machine, stuck it down in the drain, and turned it on. We got a $4,000 water bill. I've never had that happen. No. Some of these people, they know what they're doing. Yeah. Anyways, but she's the lady across the street's going to be the cleaning for us. You know what they do on the keyless deadbolts now? What they do? They'll take a Walmart sack, put it over the end of it, so when they close the door, pull that Walmart sack out, throw that keyless deadbolt so you can't get in. Dude. I've seen that a few times now. Oh my God. It is pretty smart, but like I've never experienced anything like this. We were like, can we legally turn the water off? And everybody's like, no, you can't. And I'm like, okay, well, we can go underneath this house and disconnect it from everywhere that it goes. Like, it's not turned off. The valve's on. We don't know why there's no water. Right. Like, but, you know, I don't get all this law. I believe you own a property within reason. You should be able to tell this person, hey, you're no longer paying rent. Get out now. Right. You know.
unfortunately, I think crooked landlords have set this up so it's like it is.
Right.
And now it makes it hard on the good ones.
Was it running? No? Good.
My chief approached this thing Friday, and he told her he'd come out here Sunday after he'll kick her ass out if she went down gone.
Okay.
So I guess that she was probably left.
No, she did. She came over and told the neighbors about it. They called me. So, but, well, I appreciate y'all's time. I'm going to finish this podcast. With Jacob. I'm live on the scene, Pat. You should have filled in for me while I was out, man. You should have hit the mute button. Started bebopping. I got DJ sitting there staring at me like you can't find a contractor.
You guys are killing it. This is the real time action. This is what I like about having it mobile with Skype, is that you can actually still do your job and do the show at the same time. So people can literally see you in the field. I think that gives it a different perspective. Yeah.
Gabriel.
So you deal with all this stuff too then, Kristen, right?
No,
No,
I do not. No. I do not deal with this. This is this isn't a past life, and I hate evictions. Although, did you ever hear my best eviction story?
Tell it.
Don, go ahead.
All right, so this is the guy. So he shows up, and I usually only rented to Section 8 tenants because I wanted that guaranteed check from the government. Didn't want to mess around with it. And so this guy, he goes, well, okay, yeah, I'm going to come check out the house. I'm like, all right. So he drives up, pulls up in front, gets out, and goes, well, I don't have Section 8, but I do have disability. And I'm like, what are you disabled for? And he goes, I'm legally blind. And so this guy just drove up, right? And I'm like, so obviously con man, which is your first red flag. If you think that you're going to get one over on the con man, you're not, and walk away, right? So I said, well, okay, well, it's a government check, so we'll take that, right? He can pay his rent. So fast forward, he loses his disability because he got too many speeding tickets driving around. So they figured,
Didn't do that?
So this idiot is like dumbest criminal on earth. He starts speeding around town, and I watched him myself. I'm like, Jesus Christ, blind man, and he's like doing 60 down a residential neighborhood road. So I finally, after a couple months, I'm like, all right, I'm done with this. His girlfriend too worked in the mortgage department at Bank of America here in Dallas. So I'm like, this is going to be a good one. So I'm writing emails with her back and forth. I give him a couple months, try to catch up after he's lost his disability. And I'm finally like, y'all, this is done, right? And so I evict them. She shows up at court, dark glasses, the cane, girlfriend on his arm, and I'm sitting up there like the blonde, awful, mean landlord. And I'm just human, right? My blood is boiling. I'm just so pissed. And I'm just talking myself down. I'm like, just not worth it. Just stand there, smile, speak when spoken to. So it comes up, judge goes, do you have anything, I go, well, I've been, sending emails back and forth. It was some question about why I was suing for eviction on her instead of him. And I said, well, she's the one I communicate with all the time. And I had 20 pages of emails printed out. And so and she goes, oh, can I see those? I said, sure, Judge, no problem. I hand them to her, and I kid you not, dumbest criminal ever. She starts looking at him, and he goes, Judge, could I see those? Lifts up his glasses and takes it from her and starts reading the emails. And the judge then was so angry that the judge was just like, boom, case dismissed.
What?
It was. I'm like, I'd never seen anything like it. I'm like,
wow.
This is awesome. And I looked awesome at the end instead of like a douchebag landlord.
We learned about estoppels on this property right here. Daniel Chad Moore always talks about estoppels, but we didn't get them when we bought this.
You need them, especially for something like that. I would want.
Oh no, you gotta have them because Unit 3, just random dude living there. He's basically a squatter in our mind. Wasn't on any paperwork. Supposed to be a vacant unit. Whatever. We're trying to figure it out. And we're like, look, dude, you got to go. So we start evicting him. It takes forever to get in front of the judge. He goes in there with a contract from the previous owner that says he can be there because he does the maintenance or something. And the judge was like, the judge threw out our eviction because we gave him a 30-day notice. And since he had a contract with the previous owner, we should have gave him a 3-day notice. I'm like, 30 is more than fucking
I can't believe that.
So we had to then resubmit a 3-day notice, get back on the docket, go before, and do it all over again. Then this knucklehead shows up and fights it again, goes through the appeal process. It was like total time was probably 4 months to get that eviction done.
Wow.
But an absolute fucking idiot. And then when we did the eviction, all we did was like the day that we did the set out, the mobile home mover came and hauled the fucking whole house off. We're just going to get it the fuck out of here. Because we wanted to get rid of that house and put a new one in. That was the whole deal.
Right.
Our mistake on that was.
So where did they haul it to? Where did you sell it to somebody else?
No, I've got it at a place in Groesbeck. And so we bought a little shitty mobile home park out in Lampasas that's out in the country. And we're gonna take some of these houses that aren't up to this standard. We're gonna set them in that shitty mobile home park, owner finance them out, and just get $400 a month lot rent. So, I think we're gonna do $450 or $500. I don't remember, but we're gonna include some bills in that. And we bought that park. It's basically 5 developed acres with 5 more that have spaces and septic and all that stuff. So we can put probably 10 or 20 homes in there, but it serves a purpose for us because we couldn't get a dump to take these houses. It would cost us $5,000 to tear them down. It cost us $2,000 to move them to the country and set them on some land that we already own. And then the damn county tax appraiser came out and got the information off the homes and put them on our fucking taxes because they're sitting out in the middle of a pasture, even though they're not fucking useful. So we're having to go argue with the county tax appraiser and say, hey, look, those homes are not actual structures. You can't fucking put them on our taxes out here in the country. So we had to find a solution to the problem. My solution was haul them out there and burn them. And then this mobile home park came up, and it was like, oh, okay.
Okay.
With
we can make
this,
some money off of it.
Yeah, with these, I can now drag them to a different mobile home park. That's, I mean, it's probably the ugliest mobile home park we own. No probably about it. It is. There's clubfoot chickens and shit running around out there. But
there's what? There's 12-foot chickens.
Clubfoot chickens, like chickens
Clubfoot.
was like you got like a regular chicken hand, and then you got like a big ass chicken hand. It's like, where did this come from?
So gross. Little known fact. I have an irrational fear of birds. Shit like that gives me nightmares. That gives me nightmares. I literally wouldn't be able to go. I see chickens. I don't know. They're awful. I don't want to be near a chicken.
This fat ass chicken was chasing me around the property. Like, you can go in the Roughneck Real Estate Group and see this ugly motherfucker like chase me around. I'm like, get away from me, fancy chicken. Like, I don't want you around me.
About the only thing worse than like turkeys. I actually have nightmares about turkeys. Like, you will see like turkeys on television now. Yeah, they freak the shit out of me. That and like big birds, like ostriches. I'm like, or emus. I'm like, no. I don't even know what I would do if I was out there with one of those. I'd absolutely freak out. But people have seen me freak out over birds like geese and stuff. They find it funny as shit. Apparently, I really freak out. So,
hey DJ, get these guys. Y'all can go over there and start. Show them the trash we're picking up. In this house right here.
Water on them?
Give it a flush. See if it'll go.
What if it don't flush?
Well, and we got a plumber nearby. We'll call Jawad.
He's like, what the hell are you have with you?
DJ just came over and asked where to take a shit. This might be the best podcast ever. He's now going to shit in the eviction home. He's worried about water. He needs to worry about toilet paper. He's going to end up with fucking sockless in a minute.
I would also maybe Lysol it first. I mean, first it was evicted. He's going to sit down on that thing? I don't think that's a plan. That sounds like how long has that place been vacant? God knows what's on that toilet seat, DJ. His mom might be watching. His mom might be watching and going, you gave my boy a job and then sent him to like, you know, the E. coli toilet seat.
That female safety perspective just kicked in real quick.
I'm like, you said he's still in high school.
Oh my God, is he
hell
gonna be?
no, my boy's not working for you anymore. He came home with a rash. Now he had to have his ass amputated.
He has an ass rash and he got punched by a clubfoot chicken.
His ass is completely infected. He has no ass anymore because I let him work for you for what? Probably like extra school credit.
Well, we just hope that ass rash is ass herpes. Like, that'll, having to explain that for the rest of your fucking life. The fuck happened here? I gotta take my once a day. Keep that away.
I know, exactly. You have to go in there with an EpiPen. Like right in the heart, like Pulp Fiction.
Oh damn! So, you buy mortgages. What are your Thanksgiving plans? I feel like we're the only people giving a shit about work around the Thanksgiving holidays. Our whole office staff is off, but I like that for them. I like that.
So I'm getting out of town and going down to Houston because we have an insane family holiday tradition. Somebody talking to you again?
Once every 2 weeks, probably.
Once every 2 weeks.
Seen him hanging around up here?
Never have, but she lives right across the street. You ever see that guy? But if the Hispanic population lives in the duplex, this unit right here, and unit number 5. So, does he have this listed as an address?
No, he was staying in some apartments over here. They told me he was hanging out here quite a bit.
Pat, you gonna talk?
Oh, actually, unit 12. Unit 12, the house.
Pat's not dancing either. We're just on here, just chatting. Listen, talk about.
Everybody pays really good.
God, that's what.
But the people that live in unit 12, there's like 50 people.
Entertaining folks. You know, a little bit.
We're just having a good time this morning.
Okay. Well, if he's here, we don't want him.
Where are you?
San Diego.
Let me see him again.
San Diego.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
She'll keep it
very nice. When it's freezing for you guys, it's like 70 here.
Cold.
Yeah.
It was like.
Man, we can come around and do. I can come around and do an inspection without.
So when I woke up.
I'm sure.
You have to.
No, I mean.
I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, so St. Louis is bitter cold. That's part of the reason why I was like, man, I need sunny weather year round.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Big time.
I'm the same way.
She said it was pretty cold, and that can she talk now, Corey? Jeez.
Yeah.
So do I buy mortgage hosts? Yes. As soon as I hang up with you, I've got to run down and look at. I've got 3 remodels going on that I'm turning into more Airbnbs. My first one, within 12 days and no reviews, was 100% occupied for the month of November, and I'm booked all the way through December 16th. So
how do you do that? Do you pick one, like just buy them next to Cowboy Stadium, or like?
Oh, hell no. I don't know. Those are just sketchy down there. So, but there's a need for them. Don't get me wrong. But I wanted to go super, like, more high end. So this first one is next to like SMU, North Park Mall, Lower Greenville. And the 3 that I'm working on right now, 2 are by Scottish Rite Hospital. They're like walking distance to like Oak Lawn, Cedar Springs area. And then I've got another one that is like Eddie V's and Albernay's in Highland Park. It's literally a block and a half from Eddie V's. Like you just walk right down. So I wanted stuff that, you could walk to restaurants, bars, have like a great night in the city. So it'd be like for you to come in and go, yeah, we're going to have like a weekend in the city. And
you don't want me in there. You don't want me in there. The Roughneck crew's rough on stuff.
Well, don't be rough. Seriously, I made everything super, super nice. So I've got like the bed from the Westons, which are like the #1 rated hotel bed. I put those. Yeah, that's what I'm putting in there. So it's the Weston Heaven bed.
We came in to party like that one time. We decided we were going to the Stockyards in Fort Worth, and of course we're all rolling with Texas oil money. So we walk in there, and my buddy Trent's like, give me a shot of your finest tequila. And they're like, all right, that'll be $400. He's like, give me a shot of your second finest tequila. And they're like, all right, that's $275. He's like, how much is Jose Cuervo? They're like, $12. He's like, give me some of that shit.
Yeah.
That's what I really wanted.
So seriously,
like,
this is exactly, there are a lot of people who come in from like West Texas, East Texas. They want to come in for an awesome weekend in Dallas. I don't allow parties in these places because they are condos. They're like 1 bedroom, 1 bath, 2 bedroom, 2 bath. They're easy to pick up, but like the 1 bedroom, 1 bath, 732 square feet. I put 40 grand into that thing to rehab it.
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, it's
that. Hey, just so the people on the Roughneck Real Estate Podcast know, can you catch ass herpes from a golden toilet seat?
I believe not from my toilet seats, but yes. Yes. If it is not ass herpes, I mean, you literally gave a 17-year-old kid ass herpes.
He's 18, but if you've got
so he's 18. Ooh, I'm sorry, that's okay then.
How much was the toilet in this place? Like, does it have a butthole sprayer? Have you seen my butthole sprayer?
No, I know what you're talking about. No.
Well,
no, I mean, it's super nice, but I mean, everything is just, I just made everything super nice. But like, so after I'm here, I'm going to run down and check out some rehabs, like how they're going and make sure the work is good. And then I've got like, I don't know, 6 notes that I've got to do contracts for. So
that's awesome.
Getting those going. I've already got I've got agreements on front and back. So I just have to put them together. I'm trying to close them next Thursday, Friday. So
we can get really technical on that. So you do like a transfer of a deed of trust, or do you get a lien release and now you're in first lien position? How does that?
Oh, no. I do not buy any property whatsoever. I do not buy real property. I buy the piece of paper. I buy the note and the deed of trust.
Okay.
So what you get is what's recorded is an assignment of deed of trust. And then you also need the note, the original note with blue ink signatures. And then you get something called an allonge. And those are the documents. Your assignment of deed of trust and your allonge are what you need to do a note sale.
Now let's just talk hypothetically on the backside. We'll bring the people some value, and then I'm going to get back to my butthole sprayer story. So if my buddy's in first lien position on a property, okay?
Yes.
So he's in first lien position, and I got a screwy contractor, and he comes in, he's like, blah, 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 and we get in a fight, and then he gets a judgment against me attached to the property, okay?
Yes.
I can then purchase my buddy's first lien position, correct?
Yes.
And get the assignment of the deed of trust and then foreclose and wipe out my asshole contractor?
Nope.
Can't do that?
Well, if you foreclosed, you could. So if you purchased that first lien deed of trust, foreclosed on whoever that is, who is that? You're going to foreclose on yourself?
Yes.
You're going to foreclose on yourself.
And take the contractor out. Because, see, I think this is very important for people to understand that are doing properties. If you've got first lien position, now I'm not saying go screw contractors over, but I've got a friend, she reached out to me, she's like, me and this contractor are fighting. I'm like, look, you do whatever you want, okay? You're going to owner finance that house. It's not going to affect, like, all these, your punch out list isn't going to keep that house from selling. It's a remodeled house that's going owner finance. It's going to sell. You already have borrowed more from the bank than what you got in it. You're good, okay? But if you want to learn how to fight with a contractor, I'm down. Like, I'm down like 4 flat tires. Let's go. Here's what you do. Like, he has to get a judgment first. He can't just put a mechanics lien on your shit. It'll go away in a year. Yada, yada, yada. I start walking her through the process.
So that's the important thing to know about that. I mean, it's going to go away anyways. I mean, he's got to go in and refile that judgment. 9 times out of 10, if they're just being a jerk, they're threatening that. If they have a legitimate claim against you, they'll go fight it. But I've never been in that situation ever, which is good. There's another guy. I've never been in a situation where I personally had that. I do know that there are, some of them will go put judgments, when they're not paid. What do you do with that? But those fall off after a year. So if you owner finance that and hold it for a year,
no, I told her that. I was like, look, if you want to go to war with this contractor, but the thing is, he's working on 2 of her properties, so he was gonna lean both of them, and I was like, he can't like,
can't do it.
what the waves you're gonna create by fighting this guy is gonna affect your timeline on your second property. What I would do is, if I'm taking exception to him on the first property, I would just pay him off on the first property and stiff him on the second if I wanted to teach him a lesson. But I'm not advocating you do that. All I'm going to say is, you don't have to be, I'm not looking at it. I don't know.
So for me, I and here's another thing for all of you out there doing rehabs. I don't put myself in that situation ever anyways. I pay for all materials up front. I don't pay any money until work is complete. And I go and I inspect the work. And if the work is shitty, I might pay for what's good. And I'll say, all right, this is not good. I need this better. I'm not paying for this until it's right. And if you do it like that, you're never behind, and people are always like, oh, I'm gonna, this guy wants to be paid. I don't give a shit how much he's yelling. He gets paid when the work is done. So, and that was that's the agreement. What?
There's an echo. I think Pat has me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's Pat.
It's Pat.
Anyways, the punch out list at the end is what's we all know it's the hardest part to get complete, because it's where, that plug socket's crooked. I don't like that. Fix it. You know what I mean? Like, it's a punch out list. On a high end Airbnb, absolutely essential that it's done right. On a high end flip, absolutely essential that it's done right. On an owner finance in a shithole town, you could have sold that bitch day one. Like, you could have sold it as is.
So just so you know, going this, like, we're talking about what I buy, and this is a big thing that comes up, and especially I've got a couple investors who, like, down in, like, West Texas, I don't do business with anymore, just because they weren't fixing up the properties at all. And then they were saying that they were worth, 200,000, 100,000 or something like that, and they're worth 50. And
their numbers. I like.
No, I know, but it's, then they're upset with me. Like, this one guy, I ended up running a BPO. He took 15% down, and the LTV on this note was 167%. And I'm like, and he's like, how much will you give me for that? And I go, nothing. I'm like, good luck. That's gonna absolutely.
Oh, well, okay, never mind. We don't oversell houses.
Yeah, no, you're not talking about oversell. You're talking about owner financing something for 15 grand. Awesome. But right. For me, it's, if that house is worth 100, you fucking sell it for 100. Otherwise,
that's what we do.
Otherwise, you're those new Western assholes who are just,
screwing
investors over.
We sell for fair market value. It's like, in Groesbeck, you can buy a house for $10,000, but you can't buy one on the market for $10,000. You got a $40,000 minimum, right?
Right.
It's like.
So you have to owner finance that. Yeah.
Right. So I can buy one for 10 and turn around and sell it for 40 owner finance with good conscience, because you can't. I did a live on this the other day. You cannot go pull an appraisal. You can't do a broker's opinion or nothing, because everything that sells on market, it sells for $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, $100,000. Everything that sells off market sells for 10. So even though people know that houses sell for 10, appraisers don't. Okay, and they don't never make it on MLS. So it's a funny situation where people will look and say, you just bought this for $10,000. Why would I pay you $40,000? And I'm like, you're not paying me $40,000. You're paying me $400 a month. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're buying a payment right now, and you're getting a tax deduction with your interest expense, and now you're a homeowner, and that's it. Like, here's the American dream. Go fix it. You'll always be able to sell it. You'll always be able to list it if you take care of it. If you don't take care of it, it's going to be a shithole for the rest of forever.
It's going to be worth $10,000.
That's it. I'll come back and buy it from you for $10,000.
Yeah, for $10,000 in a few years. Yeah, no, absolutely. No, I know. I totally get it. But depending on where you're at, I mean, if I can't, that's another issue. I've had to walk away from from notes just because I couldn't get a BPO on them. There was nothing there. Or if they send me something, the nearest retail comp is 20, 30 miles away. So, stuff like that gets really, really hard. And I got to tell you, the small dollar stuff for me, it's expensive. At $100,000, it's kind of that break even point. Because for me, when I'm buying notes, we buy it on a percentage of the unpaid principal balance. So if you've got, but our costs are fixed. So like a closing cost, any closing costs or, carrying costs, those are all fixed for me. So the cost for me to buy $100,000 note is exactly the same for me to buy a $50,000 note.
It's the same exact reason why small banks can't make loans. Frank Dodge got them out of loans less than $50,000.
Well, it just costs.
The
The hassle factor is the same. The hassle factor is the same. Servicing is the same. I've got a team of people who work for me. There's somebody getting in your car. Oh, it's Asher piece.
He just wants to see you. He don't never bother me this much when it's just me. He just wants to come in and
there's shit in the room. I don't want to clean it.
He's upset that he's having to clean some shit out of a room.
Oh crap.
I figured.
Is it dog crap or human crap?
Hey, DJ, did you get ass herpes?
Hey, did you catch any ass herpes?
Did you get ass herpes from the golden toilet?
I'm assuming there were no toilet seat covers in there.
Jacob's going to get a broom.
Yeah, so I can clean it.
It's a roughneck party over there. It's a roughneck party in Coleman, Texas. Texas.
We're in Fort Worth today, man.
Oh, Fort Worth.
We're highfalutin.
So highfalutin going to Fort Worth on a Tuesday.
At a mobile home park. Where DJ's already found one heroin needle.
Oh man!
It's,
at least the neighbors stopped in for the podcast.
Hey, my pleasure.
But so back to the topic at hand. Do you want to see if you can teach DJ what BPO is?
Ooh, BPO. So DJ, there's two ways to get a value on a property, an official value. One is a full appraisal. DJ, you know what that is? You know what a full appraisal of a property is?
What's an appraisal, DJ? Speak up loud so the people can hear you.
Whenever you go to the property, you look at it, looks good, so you appraise the value.
Okay, so that would be a no. That would be a no, but it's a good thing. All right. So what's a BPO? A BPO is where you have usually a broker or a realtor, someone of importance, or an appraiser. They will drive by the property, right? And then they will research it on the internet.
That's the method siding.
Yeah.
Where?
She's coming.
Oh, up there.
What are we looking at there? Is that like a playground?
That's crystal methany.
Crystal methany. Oh no. She looks like she's walking to. Is she not walking to the train station? Or?
There's no trains around here. But she's got a mohawk that is wicked.
That's a 10 on Corey's list.
She's a solid 7. I mean, she's at least 7 beers. At least.
Seven beers.
Yeah, it would take 7 beers. But back to BPO, we're
Hey, let's get back to the BPO. Let's get back to BPO.
Anyways, I call up a company, they send out an appraiser, and then the appraiser looks on the internet to see what houses have sold for. And then he gives me an average of that sales price and tells me what my property is worth. It's more official than, say, Corey getting on there going, yeah, I think the house is worth this. It's somebody who does it for a living.
Right. And so, and now, since do you understand why you were wrong on appraisal and what an appraisal was, DJ? An appraiser isn't a licensed person, a licensed appraiser. That's all they do is appraise houses. They go and tell us what they're worth. And in a single-family resident like this one and this one, they're going to go by sales comps in the area. On our mobile home park here, it'll go off of income. We'll go over this later, DJ. We're going to have DJ trained up. He's got one more semester of high school. He's still got senior prom in between him and real life. I mean,
and real life.
Like,
when life gets hard and then you're sad.
That's it.
because we're so sad. This is our Tuesday. This is our regular Tuesday. Hanging out, shooting the shit over real estate. So, why do I get BPOs though, DJ?
Yeah.
Most
DJ,
important
why
thing
do you
is
get BPOs?
I need equity in a property or in a note. I need to know that I don't pay too much for that note. So I need a minimum of 20% equity in every
What's
note that I
equity,
buy.
DJ? DJ, what's equity?
I know what it is. I can't explain it though.
DJ, this is why you have ass herpes right now.
This is
No, it's because Corey Thompson brought it to.
hold on. You came over here asking if the water was on. Toilet paper should be your number one concern when going to shit in a strange place.
I'm going to go back on the record and say toilet paper is not the number one concern.
No, I didn't
Ass
know.
herpes. We were just at Home Depot. We should have got Lysol. We should have anticipated. We should have looked ahead and knew
Yeah.
they were going to have to shit. Of course,
Yeah.
we couldn't let him go to his sweet mother-in-law's house across the street here. She's got 2 daughters. The first time we were over here, they were all wore out.
No, this is bullcrap.
No, this is what happened. They were all wore out. And the sweet neighbor across the street came over and she's like, hey, can y'all pick up these trees? And we had our dump trailer here. We're picking up trash, And her daughters come out and they're like, what, how old are they?
I don't know.
17 and 14.
17 and 14. And we had a whole bunch of high school boys. And all of a sudden they went from tired to, I can throw trees around. Like, poking their chest out. Like, I'm like, hey, you think you can get them to sit on the porch the whole time we're here from now on? Like, they're just showing out now. We're from Groesbeck. We're strong.
So we have an actual question in the comments. Someone wants to know more about comps from income.
Comps
Okay.
From
from
income.
income. Oh, yeah, like for your asset base.
I'll take that. So NOI did a video in Roughneck Real Estate telling you what NOI is. Net operating income is what NOI is. So I'm sitting at a mobile home park right here. I have to pay the water. I have to pay property taxes. I have to pay somebody to mow the place. I have to pay all that. That's coming off of my net operating income. Basically, every appraisal I've seen is in between 35 and 40% is what they give you for expenses.
Whoa.
There goes Chris messing me. So, anyways, it's between 35 and 40% is expenses. So, let's say a property makes $100,000 a year. You're only going to get credit for $60,000 of that on an appraisal. No matter if your expenses are only 20%, they're still going to put it in your management fees, all this stuff, because they want to know what their insulation is if the bank takes over. They want, because the bank's gonna have to pay manager, the bank's gonna have to put their prices in. They're gonna put 3% in for capex. They got all these weird charges that show up in the appraisal. So now you're only getting credit for $60,000 worth of income. Okay, that $60,000 worth of income at a 5 cap makes it worth 1.2 million. Is that right? Somebody check my math. No,
Yeah, that's worth that.
no. So 60,000, yes, 1.2 million. At a 10 cap, it'll be 600,000. At a 20 cap, it'll be worth 300,000. I think that's right. I don't know. I'm not doing any math. Y'all got my calculator for my deal, but that's how they base it. So the way that it works. Hold on, y'all talk about that in a second, so I don't lose my train of thought. So the appraisal will come in and say, mobile home parks in the area, or mobile home parks in the state, or mobile home parks in this condition have sold at a 10 cap before. So this property will be at a 10 cap, or they'll come in and say that it's at a 20 cap. They then take that NOI of 60,000 and you divide it by if it's 10, you divide it by 0.1. If it's 20, you divide it by 0.2, and that tells you what the property's worth. It's a lot of information coming really fast. You'll have to rewind that. Maybe Pat Hilton can cut it out into a soundbite, make it small for y'all. And the math might not be right because y'all have my fucking calculator. So that is the difference between income and sales comp approach.
So here's the thing though, when I was buying rental properties way back when, like back before, and I'm not talking about Airbnbs, because Airbnbs just, the money that you make from an Airbnb is about 3 times what you make, from regular rent. But basically, if I was going in and it was going to bring me $1,000 worth of rent, I knew that I was going, that was like an $80,000 property. Now, because especially around Dallas Fort Worth, supply is so low. So now it's about par. So if you've got $1,000 worth of rent, you know that it's about $100,000 property. So take your $1,000, multiply 100, and that is a rough estimate on what you're going to get for a valuation method.
On single family, but me, I buy.
Yeah, but you're talking about mobile homes, absolutely.
Well, I use the 2% rule on buying all my rentals. So the reason why is because the access to the debt. You asked earlier how much interest we pay. The numbers don't work for us with the debt that we have if we don't get it at 2%. They just don't cash flow. So if I'm paying now, if I got that good 30-year AM 4% interest loan, yeah, I can buy a 1% deal. But
sure.
with the debt I have access to, I need a 2% deal. And there's some things about rentals that you need to know. On a rental property, Eddie Gant told me this early on. He's like, look, this is somebody else buying you an asset. Don't expect to make money at it. This is just somebody else buying you an asset. This is a 20-year plan. This is a 30-year plan. You're hoping that rents go up.
Honestly, I'm a big believer in that, because after I owner financed every single one of mine, so like I had the 61 doors, and I had data like on every single one of those. What were my maintenance costs? What was my make ready? What was my vacancy rate? Was there vandalism? Was there theft? And I had all of that, and so I was able to add that all up year over year and see what my actual profit was compared to notes. I make so much more money with notes than I do with rentals. And the reason, maintenance, having people come out, what do you really get with rental properties? Yeah, you're paying that thing off for 20 or 30 years, and you're going for appreciation. And that's about all you're going for. You are working for that thing for 20 or 30 years.
Right. And the other thing is, though, the difference between notes and rentals for me is I can raise my rent with inflation. Your notes are locked in. So what I'm looking at from a dynamic of my debt's being paid down on an income approach, what I just explained, my income's going up. So I'm adding equity every year that I get to raise rent, okay? But I'm paying down debt. So I've got this graph where the two numbers are moving away from each other. Now, if I'm going to come back and re-leverage and pull equity and re-leverage and pull equity, then I'm on a treadmill that I probably don't need to be on. Me personally, whenever I pull equity out of a property, like the one we're doing in West Texas, we're pulling equity from it. It's going directly into another property that's going to double our equity in the company. Does that make sense? Like I'm putting $300,000 in that I'm going to immediately get back out whenever I refinance, but I'm putting $800,000 on my books. So basically, Q1 of next year, we should have about $1 million in the bank liquid, and we will be very lendable because we'll only have about $3 million worth of debt. $1 million liquid, $3 million worth of debt, and now we're about to start really buying some shit because we've already learned all of our hard lessons this year, the mobile home park that I'm sitting at, everything else. So like I told the banks when we were talking to them, this is the worst you'll ever see our P&L look ever because all of our mistakes are in there. We've paid for all those mistakes this year. Next year, we're going to be more efficient. I'm not saying we're not going to make mistakes. We're going to be more efficient. We're going to cut back on that. We're building systems. We're building teams. We're doing all this stuff.
And you have to. And, you have to really, it's so important to document every step of the way on every project. Because if you can't go back and go, all right, what worked here, what didn't work, you will never get better. If it's a shot in the dark and go, yeah, I think we actually did pretty well on that. But when you sit down and do the numbers and you're like, wow, we actually didn't do as well as what I thought. And this totally screwed us, made these mistakes here. How do we change? How do we get better? So yeah, no, it's very important to do that. And I did that at the end of last year. And that's where I figured out, I just created a spreadsheet and I looked at all of my cost estimations on, closing those lower balance loans because I noticed, I'm like, Jesus Christ, I lost money on 2 last year just because they were so small.
Well, dang, my note that I want to tell you is small. So
how small is small?
Yeah, you'd be paying $50,000 or whatever. I don't know. I think it's
bad. I'll look at it anyway. Especially if you've got an underlying lien on there. I tell everybody get rid of that stuff. So
Right.
it's the underlying. I mean, if it's free and clear and you've got it at 40, 50 grand, hold on to it. There's no
Right.
point selling it and taking less. But if you can get rid of an underlying lien, absolutely sell that stuff and sell it quick, because interest rates are on the rise. And once we go into this downturn, who knows what, the note market's going to look like, and as I said, we never, I sell to Wall Street. So mortgage-backed securities, that never ended. That didn't end for a day or a minute in '08. That kept right on track. And so, for me, do I think it's going to end? No. But do I know exactly what it's going to look like either? No. So is there going to be a slow up? Are all of my buyers still going to be there? My buyers could evaporate. So again, I'll find new ones, but
This is I wish we'd have talked less about crystal methane and more about finding private money and stuff like that, because I think that's a good episode for somewhere down the road.
yeah.
Because we both found it in two different ways, probably.
I'm
assuming.
sure. We can pick this up in the future and just you can sit in an office and look all professional, and we can talk about how we got private money. I don't know. Or do you go in with your motherfucker of trailer parks hat on when you go ask for a loan?
I do.
I want to see this episode with you in a suit like Brad Lee dropping bombs.
Dude, I'm like go in. I actually wear this hat everywhere because the great thing about me is the people behind me look really good. You know what I mean? Like my partner that just pulled up that's getting DJ a broom. He shows up all dressed, whatever, and they're like, okay, so what do we do about crystal methane? And they're like, oh, you want to see what we do about that? Corey, step right up, start talking. I'm like, oh, fuck her up. We go out here, snatch her up by a fucking nasty ass weave. Like that's my role in this company. But everybody wants to know that you can do the work that you're saying you can do. Now, granted, do I know the numbers and all that kind of stuff? A little bit, but we look way better on paper with those guys because they are really the backbone of what works. I'm just the engine that makes it run, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
and they, I'm not even gonna lie. I think bankers like my energy. I think they're like, dude, I feel like this guy's gonna make some shit happen. Let's just give him a chance and watch the show. Like, if nothing else, it'd be good entertainment. Like,
yeah, I'm sure that's what bankers are saying. They're like, God, yeah, this guy is going to be fun to watch. Let's give him $500,000.
I can't explain it any other way. Like, I mean, look, we went down and met with a banker a couple weeks ago, and we had it was me and another partner, and so we have all of our stuff together, and this banker is awesome. But as soon as he figured out that we have that I do this podcast and all that stuff, he was wanting to talk about it, and I'm like, oh man, do I want him to run across this? You know what I mean?
No. The answer is no. No, you don't.
But at the end of the day, it's like, look, I would rather see somebody out in a old Ford pickup picking up trash from the property than I had go buy a Lambo. If I'm loaning that person money, that's
okay. Whoa. That I do believe, and that's why I like you, and why I agreed to come on this thing, because that's the one thing I hate. It's the guy that goes and rents a Lambo for the day, or goes to the airport, and has his buddy let him in, to stand in front of a private plane that he's probably loading luggage onto. Let's be honest, when the camera stops rolling,
right.
And he's like, "Oh yeah, check out my private plane. Look at me, I'm so awesome." And he's never done a real estate deal in his life. Those guys. I don't trust those guys at all. Anytime I see anything like that, and they've got their cars on there, I'm like, yeah, that's a freaking lease. Anybody can go lease a car for a day.
We all know how these margins are. You know what I mean? Like, we know how hard it is to scale. We know what the margins are. We know how many deals it takes. We know what your deal flow has to be like. We know how contractors are fucking thieves. You know what I mean? We know contractors are calling us thieves. Like, we know the battle that's fought out here in the fucking trenches every day. So if you're fighting that battle and you go make $100,000, which we're probably going to do in the next couple of days, we're probably going to hit a big ass lick like that. You work so fucking hard to get it. The only thing you want to do is grow it. You don't want to blow it. Like, it's not like, I don't want to go buy a boat with this $100,000. I want to park it somewhere and let it grow where it's safe and it's going to pay me every month. Because now it's like, I don't necessarily have to work as hard as I used to. You know what I mean? Whenever I was
Right.
doing bandit signs every weekend and doing everything that I had to do when we were being scrappy. But at the same time, it's like, look, I know exactly what that's like. I know what that's like starting out. I know what it's like to only have $500 to do marketing. I know what it's like to feel like you're fucking failing around every deal because you had 3 deals under contract and the title was fucked up on all of them. Now you don't get a payday, and that was your entire pipeline. You know what I mean? So now you got to figure
Right.
out how to pay bills for the next 3 months. So when I look at those guys that are doing it, I think one or two things. Either one, they already had a lot of money to start with, and real estate's kind of a hobby, which ain't nothing wrong with that. Or two, they're not doing anything other than trying to sell you a fucking course because they know there's more quick money in courses than there is out here grinding out, learning from your mistakes.
And that is
That's
right.
all.
And that's the reason I'm like, everybody's like, are you going to write a book? Are you going to have a course? Do you want to do you want a mentor? No, 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 I don't. Because I'm like, I'm an actual investor. I have a company. I'm too freaking busy, buying and selling notes to, have somebody that I'm, going to mentor on that,
Right.
or to
Well,
have a class to teach, like an official class to teach people. I'm like, I don't have that kind of time. I wouldn't want that responsibility.
I finally came out with a program. It's real simple program. If you want me to mentor you, you pay $100,000. You get first lien position or in a lien position, okay? And now you're a lender on this deal, and I'm gonna tell you all about it the whole time, and we're gonna both go make money. And you're gonna get your $100,000 back, and you're gonna get a little bit of Corey Thompson mentoring. Just don't expect to get much out of it, other than you just need to go do the fucking work. You need to get off your ass and on your feet.
And that's the number one thing. I'm like, until somebody, really shows up and goes, okay, well, this is, I need to do blah, blah, blah. I go, all right, this is what I want you to do. Here's a realtor. Here's a wholesaler. Here's somebody. Go buy a piece of property, any piece of property. Go put something under contract, and then let's go make money with it. I'm like, I will absolutely talk you through it. I'm not gonna do 100% of the work. I'm like, I'm surely not gonna do that. But until somebody actually gets off the couch and goes and does something, I'm like, no. I've seen enough. In the last 15 years, I've seen enough tire kickers, which is, it's 95% of somebody who shows up to a real estate investing, networking thing or educational thing. I'm like, 95% of those people will never do a single real estate deal.
Right. I know them even better than that. They pay $40,000 and then they never do a deal.
I don't even know. And that one just breaks my heart. I'm like, oh my God, why would you pay $40,000 to somebody? Let's just go buy a house. I'm like, with $40,000, hell, you could buy a couple.
Yeah, and you could lose. You even if you put $40,000 into real estate, it's really hard to lose $40,000 in real estate.
It is.
Like, how did you get that to zero? That is amazing. You have talent. Like that. I mean, it should still be worth something. Like, what is your secret? You know what I mean? Like this. I want to be able to fuck something up that bad. I just do. But it's a weird dynamic on all of this. Pat, we got any more questions? Is anybody watching? Does anybody care? Have we lost them all?
No. No, we still got about 15 viewers. We got about 117 thumbs up, and not many questions. People are probably just enjoying Kristen's good looks and your rants. Mainly.
Yeah, no,
But yeah, good information.
That's there were a lot of likes up to that point.
But that's why we had you on, is because you're someone that actually does deals. Like, we even have we had Spencer on the other day, and he's only done a couple deals, but like, he's not out spending money to try and learn. He's buying pieces of property and then learning as he goes. He even, he said he lived in that one property that he bought, cleaned it up, and then flipped it or whatever. I mean, right?
He bought his first flip on an FHA loan and used credit cards to do the rehab and lived in it while he was rehabbing it himself. And made money. I mean, and
he made money off the deal.
8 months in the business. How else are you going to do it? People are talking about it. Like, even if you lose money on that deal, what you learn from it is more valuable than the $40,000 you're going to pay a guru.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, you just give $40,000 to somebody, and I've heard stories about it where they're like, well, they gave me a manual and told me to go read it, and then, then they weren't really around. I'm like, yeah, no shit, you gave them 40 grand. I'm like, good job. Up front, I'm like, again, as I said, I don't pay anybody up front for anything.
Right.
What are we getting? I want my service, and then you get paid. So, but no, yeah, I'm out there building up, my Airbnb portfolio. I'd like to have, 15 to 20 of these pretty soon.
That's
I
cool.
had a goal to have, yeah.
How are the expenses? How on the cleaning and stuff like that? Like, it seems like, and I'm not saying that the tenants are bad or whatever, but it seems like there would be a little bit higher maintenance cost, especially with cleaning fees and stuff like that.
So the cleaning
you
fees,
you can,
right. So you can
pass that on
charge
to the renter.
Yeah,
right?
no,
Yeah.
you pass it on. So like I have a $40 cleaning fee. What I'm finding is the problem are doing like the laundry, the sheets and everything like that, because that's more expensive to get done. So I lose a little bit on cleaning fees, but not much.
you know, like a turn down service that comes and does that, like comes in and just changes sheets. They own the sheets, so basically you're just leasing them.
No. I have a guy. So I've got a guy set up. It's probably going to end up that like I'm probably going to move towards paying him, and he's going to wash sheets and stuff like that. But I probably got to move more towards having him on an hourly rate so that he can come in, wash everything, get it in the dryer, get it dried. Again, do a speed wash of like, 20 to 25 minutes or something like that, then dry it while he's there cleaning everything else, so he's on site maybe an hour. I have one guy, he's got a couple people that he does it with, and he's $30.
That's awesome.
So, but what I want to do is have somebody more on salary, but I just need more of them, so with these 3, that'll be 4. I'd love to hurry up and get these 3 done here in the next, 2-3 weeks, get them up and running, and then buy another couple more at the end of the year.
So the furniture's an extra maintenance cost in those too, but this is something that I'm wondering myself because I don't know, because all of our mobile homes in Pecos are furnished.
Yeah.
Is that going to show up on our fucking inventory tax? Are we going to end up having to pay the county for taxes on our fucking furniture?
What? I don't know. Because I mean, do I have it as an asset? I'll find out from my accountant how she's setting it up.
I'm wondering about it too, because the only reason I asked is when I was out there with the appraiser, they're like, oh, y'all own the furniture too. Like, yeah, like what did it cost for you to furnish? We only furnished one because the manager was living there. And so, like, yeah, we spent $11,000 furnishing it, which was bullshit. But anyways, I was like, well, I think it was $11,000. You know what I mean? Because I was wanting to get that.
I was going to say, I'm like, you spent $11,000 furnishing a mobile home? Are you insane?
We fancy as fuck. These are oil field hands. They got Texas oil money. They're coming in there. You got fancy Airbnbs. We got fancy Airbnbs.
Yeah, obviously.
But
hot tub time machine in there.
It's like I don't know, because we don't do weekly rentals anymore or nightly rentals. So I don't think we have any dealings with the comptroller. So I'm not sure about that inventory. But it's really the only reason I know that stuff exists is because going through the tax auction and being able to buy somebody's fucking inventory from their fucking towing shop, and you're like, what is this shit? And they're like, that.
Yeah, but is that a couch? I mean, you're talking about shit that if somebody foreclosed on it or took it back, it'd be sitting out at the curb. It wouldn't do that. I mean, or it would be like me selling that shit on Facebook Marketplace, right?
No, I mean, cost segregation for you is going to be huge. Because, like, right now, if you get to depreciate, and I don't know, Alan came on here and was explaining it to me. All that personal property.
Appreciate stuff like carpet, appliances, and I don't put carpet in remodels when I don't have to. Like mine are wall-to-wall porcelain floors, but
But you can rapidly depreciate that furniture too.
Oh, I imagine. I would hope so.
get a cost segregation. Reach out to Al and get a cost segregation because you can get all like 95% of your depreciation in the next 7 years. You can actually go back and get it from last year too. I don't understand any of that, but I'm just gonna plug him because he came on here, and you know he was telling.
He was good.
Property. He was. I mean, he was up here.
He was really good.
All right, but you know, I wanted him to talk about like, can I deduct like trips to the strip club and stuff. He wouldn't go into that with me too much.
So actually, would you like the answer? The answer is no. The answer is no. I specifically asked about that. Entertainment is gone now, unless you have dinner at the strip club. Because if a meal is involved, then it is a complete tax.
Now you know where to ask Kristen out to dinner at, Corey.
There he is.
So,
Beans
yeah,
spilled.
If there is food provided, the strip club would be. Now, how do you get a receipt for that, you know, $20, $40 lap dance that you just paid in cash and all of those $2 bills?
No. I'm taking the American
That
Express
one, you know. If you go up there and you're making it rain, I don't think you can go up to Crystal.
Yeah, just use the card and the Miss Crystal.
Crystal, hey babe, can I get a receipt for the
that.
you know, those
For the ass herpes you just gave me.
I went into a strip club one time with $11,000 in 100s and gave it to him and said, "Here, give it to me back in ones." Now, when you get $11,000 in ones from the bank, it's nice, crisp, tight wrap.
God.
Stripper ones turn into like a castle. Like $11,000 in stripper ones, you can literally.
Corey,
it's like you can't.
Corey, do you know what I'm getting you for Christmas? I'm already decided. You need like a complete Medipack of like steroid shots, and you just need to be like, just start dosing yourself. You're going in there. I mean, can you imagine? I mean, your castle of like stripper ones, like $11,000 in stripper ones.
Oh my God, that's funny.
It's gonna be like steroid shots in cans of Lysol, and you're just gonna like just douse yourself. Just anytime you get into your car.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what's crawling all over that. The truck looks nice too. I gotta be honest. You know, from what I can see in it, it's all clean and stuff. I'm like, I bet there's some stuff rolling over those seats. I bet if we took a black light to that, you'd be like, holy fuck.
All right. It's all right.
Oh my gosh.
Look, the number one rule of stripper sex is this. There's two rules.
Wait,
One,
stripper sex? This is the number one rule of like when you're having sex with a stripper.
first rule is
Number one
Make
rule
sure
is
you're
don't
not
have sex
hiding
with
a closet.
strippers. Right.
look, number one rule, pee afterwards. Number two rule, dump mouthwash, like rinse off with mouthwash. Like you got to get all the regions. Look, this is the Roughneck Real Estate Podcast. That's from the Roughneck section. They know what I'm talking about. Like right now, they're like, dude,
that is so true. When I go home with a stripper,
Good info, bro. Good info. Definitely going to invest
I
with
make
you.
Sure, and I just rub off the top of that mouthwash.
That's why Corey's my
we don't know where
guy.
that fit.
don't go cheap. Don't get the generic shit. Get actual Listerine. Like you know how it burns in your mouth. If it burns when it's south,
Yes.
woo, it's no go. It's time to go to the clinic.
That and a body condom.
A body condom. Body Glove needs to license that. Like the surfer outfits they sell out here in California, they need body condoms. Right. You can just dive right in there.
I'm not sure people will hang with
By
this podcast.
the way, I am uber popular in strip clubs. I'm way more popular than you will ever be in a strip club.
Well, yeah.
Oh, no doubt. Because now I'm cheap. I don't even go in there. I'm like, I ain't spending no money. The only thing I'm doing when I'm in the strip club is just saying obscene things and seeing what kind of answers I can get. Like, how much for a fart in the mouth? Like, what's that?
Good
like?
God! Ew! It's
$3?
like,
What do we get?
this is where Corey goes. This is where Corey now goes at my reaction. Was that over the line?
Right.
Did we just Me Too something? Is this what happened?
Wow.
My bad. I'm sorry.
Well, it's been a great show, guys. It's been a great show. Kristen, thank you for coming on. I do think we should reconnect on
on
whatever.
private lending and having a whole conversation about
Yes.
like serious stuff other than like fart in the mouth from like some random ass stripper. So yeah.
She's not random. She's crystal method. Like, we know her. We know
Oh,
her. Any stripper
man.
that'll fart in your mouth for $3 has superpowers.
That's nice.
That's
yeah.
that's the gift that keeps on giving all year long.
DJ's looking a little tired back there. I think little.
His sugar rush faded off. His
Like,
sugar rush
starting to
faded.
slump over. You got to go get him his steroid shot real fast.
Yeah, get the Medipack out. Oh, man.
Poor Jacob showed back up with a broom. He's probably up there sweeping shit. It's like, we got a kid around here we're paying to do something. He's just hanging out in my back.
He's drinking soda in the back seat of your fucking truck. Oh, man. Awesome. Well, we will connect soon. Thank you so much. Make sure to add Kristen on Facebook and follow Capricorn Mortgage. She's got all the deals you need in the high-end level. And if you want to fix up a shitter house, give Corey a call. And we'll see you guys next time.
He's the motherfucker.
Thanks for having me. It was a blast.
Of mobile homes. He's the motherfucker. Of mobile
Cool, thanks, man.
homes.
Thank you.
See you later. Bye.
The
We'll see you
best
soon.
in Texas, in every single way. Fire your guru, hire Roughneck to real estate. He's the motherfucker of mobile homes. He's the motherfucker of mobile homes.
We'll see you guys next time.